It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
It's Monday, August the 12th, and there's nothing I like more after a week away than watching Brian Zepp air drum. Dude was just killing some Kansas.
I mean, I was just beating on the desk. I was trying to get some adrenaline going, shake myself out of my vacation coma.
Well, there's the vacation coma, and then there's the post-Olympic ennui that has settled in. We got to shake it all off. We got to get right to it. It's great to be back, and of course, we need to start off with the top 5 at 6. Here's the 5 things you need to know about right now. Let's do it. Number 5. The Twins just split the series with the Guardians. Right now, 3.5 games back. I thought this was fascinating yesterday. The Twins announced they have officially retired the W, the Washington Senators W, that honored the franchise origins. They said, okay, we're retiring that. There was an on-the-field ceremony at Target Field honoring the 100th anniversary of the Senators World Series Championship 1924, and then saying the W is now officially retired.
Okay.
Well, okay, but then Well, what about the L? Because we took one yesterday to the Guardians. Keep the W. Get rid of the L. How about that?
Yeah, more W's, please. Less L's. I don't know. It's a long season. You've got to find things to occupy the season. And have we ever gotten rid of that Washington W? I don't remember that.
Byron Buxton, 2 homers. Nobody else hit anybody around. So a 5-3 loss to Cleveland. That's a 3.5 game lead for the Guardians right now.
Wait a minute. Are you on the... Wait a second. Is it August and Buxton still playing?
Shockingly.
Holy
You're
God
not supposed
almighty.
to say that.
I know, you're right. That's a jinx. Knock on wood.
That's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times.
No.
You're just asking for a nightmare to enter the room. Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. Okay, NASA Starliner astronauts. We remember a couple months ago, they hopped up into space, and it was supposed to be, a week or 2 weeks? It was supposed to be, I think, an 8-day trip. They were like, you're going to go up there for 8 days. They've now crossed over the 60-day barrier. NASA has now raised the possibility. So, okay, here's the deal. There's some ongoing issues with the Starliner capsule, if this is news to you. They are at the International Space Station. They're basically crashing the party until they figure out how to get it back. And NASA has now said they might be there till February.
Holy crap.
Okay, you know what that tells me? They will be there till February. You don't publicly offer that possibility unless you're pretty darn sure they're not getting back anytime soon.
I mean, it's really not NASA's thing to overpromise. Tell them February, and then when we get them out in December, we'll be freaking heroes. I hope they took up more than one jumpsuit. You know how you pack for a light trip?
What about your underwear? I mean, gross.
In space, you don't need it, man.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that. Do you not?
In space, no one can smell your fart. Isn't that the original Alien liner?
I think it is.
I think that was. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6, the Vikings beat the Raiders. That's right. Of course, it was a preseason game, so it really doesn't matter. Although, come on, just give me a moment. Give me a moment.
Give you a moment.
Say that J.J. McCarthy looked pretty good.
He's going to win the Super Bowl this year. If the Vikings lose a game this year, I will eat this microphone I'm talking into right now. Here's what I love about the preseason. People that don't know anything about football, all my friends, getting a hold of me come on, Zepp. I'm like, it's preseason. He threw a couple of touchdown passes against people that won't be playing in the NFL maybe next week. Certainly not in a couple of weeks. But hey, I like McCarthy, and I think, and they're clearly trying to get him into the number 1 spot here with the reps that he's getting. And this kid's going to figure it out. I like him because he is accurate, and he looks around the field. He's a smart player. He made some dumb mistakes, but he's going to learn fast. I don't know, fast enough to win a Super Bowl, but it's going to be damn fun to watch this year.
Well, the good news is, and this is as a long-suffering Tennessee Titans fans, I've watched a lot of talented quarterbacks who did not have the smarts. They just did not. They didn't have the brain required. I'll start with the brain and then work on the things like accuracy and discernment. He's a bright kid who's very interested in learning the playbook and understanding everything, and he's a devouring film. I mean, all that kind of crap I'll take, and then you can always lift a few more weights. You can always work on your footwork and stuff.
He needs
a good
reps.
Place to start.
He just needs reps.
He needs reps, and I believe he's going to get them because, of course, how long can you honestly expect Sam Darnold to hold serve? I don't expect that to be too long. And right now we have 2 more to go on the top 5 at 6, but right now I just want to say really quickly, I see you out there, Maple Grove. What's up, Maple Grove? Thank you, everybody in Maple Grove right now who's listening to KQRS in the morning. We love that. And I just wanted to simply say, keep on rocking. We're with you.
Let's have a good time out in Maple Grove.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
They have a shopping area out there that I can drive into, but I can't drive out of.
Isn't that nice how that works?
I need like a helicopter rescue to get out of that whole Ann Arbor thing or whatever.
Yeah, that's how they do that.
What's it called? Not Ann Arbor. It's the Harbor Lakes or what's it? Arbor
by design.
Lakes.
That's perfect. That's exactly that's what you're supposed to do. Get in there and get stuck there. Number 2 on your top 5 at 6. The average American says they need 60 lazy days a year. I need 60 lazy days a year. What is a lazy day? Well, that's 3 hours doing nothing, 3 hours just sitting around enjoying home, 3 hours watching movies and TV, 2 hours in bed, 2 hours napping, 2 hours. Okay, what?
Yeah.
Some
1
of
hour.
those things you can multitask on. I'm pretty
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah, I do. My lazy days are the work days. I feel like I'm way ahead of the curve. So damn vacations I can't handle.
I can lay in bed, eat a meal, listen to a podcast, and watch a movie. All concurrent. Those are concurrent. In my life, that's all just called 4 to 6 p.m.
Attaboy.
I don't know what these people are talking about. Finally, number 1, as I mentioned, the post-Olympic ennui has set in. I always say, and I've said it a million times, I can never believe how much I get into the Olympics. And I think, and I've been thinking about this the last few days, this time more than any other. I enjoyed every single, there was not a day where I didn't at least take 30 minutes or an hour and bounce around Peacock and just find some stuff I wanted to see. The Olympics wrapped up yesterday or last night, I guess. For Minnesotans in the Olympics, man, what a competition. Reagan Smith, 2 gold and 3 silver. Let's see. Suni Lee, 1 gold and 2 bronze.
That's right.
Anthony Edwards, we're calling him a Minnesotan. I mean, he plays his professional ball here.
Well,
come on.
I mean, all right. I mean, grandfather, sure, but he's not a Minnesotan any more than I am.
Edwards, Collier, both basketball golds. Sarah Bacon, the diver, with the silver. That, by the way, synchronized diving, I will forever not understand how do you get 2 people to go 30 feet in the air simultaneously and make sure they're not necessarily looping at the same time, but they hit the water at the exact same time? That freaks me out. I don't know how do you train for that?
I don't know. I was a little drunk. I just thought I was seeing double. But yeah, that's
every bit of
impressive.
Every bit of it.
How about Laura Dahlman-Weiss out of Shoreview? Did fail to qualify for the medal round in the mixed dinghy, but I really thought she got after it.
I tell you what, I never knew how much I needed mixed dinghy in my life. It's pretty exciting stuff. The LA Olympics, they're saying around the entire Olympics. I don't even know what it means, but I just see the headlines. It's going to be a car-free Olympics. I guess a lot of shuttle buses, a lot of walking, a lot of exactly.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
I don't know, but my son's moving to LA this week, and I left him a voicemail last night. I said, I'm really excited for you. This is a great chapter. You have 4 years to score us basketball tickets. Get to work. Get a job. Get the connections.
Someone.
Get to know someone.
Start kissing butt.
The clock
now.
is ticking.
Yeah. Did you guys see the coverage of Keenan and Kevin Hart when they did their commentary?
I didn't watch much of it.
Was that for basketball?
Oh, could have missed that. No, they did it for all the Olympics.
They were on constantly.
It were hilarious.
Was it good?
A lot of Snoop Dogg stuff. I
got tired of Snoop Dogg.
I mean,
You got
did.
tired of Snoop.
Yeah, I liked it at first.
You know what he didn't get tired of? Making $500,000 a day. That's what they paid him. $500,000 a day.
Seriously?
Yeah, to Snoop Dogg to be there. That was disclosed for him to go hang out at all these events. 500 G's a day.
You know what? If I think about honestly, I would have done it for $50,000 a day. But that's just me.
Yeah, no kidding. Now we got to get back to, I don't know, it was weird to go from the Olympics and the mixed dinghy and the volleyball and the javelin and pole vaulting and all that fun, cool stuff and all these miraculous, there's like 10 times a day you're almost driven to tears from
amazing.
These amateur athletes, not professional, amateur athletes winning these golds and having these moments in their lives. And then you turn on the football and it's like, what's going on? I don't know. It's just not happening for me yet.
You can just feel the contract negotiations when you put on a preseason game.
I'm just like, what are they going to do? Are they going to huddle up and do the same? All right, I'll get back into the swing here. It
was a great Olympic Games. Suffice to say, Canada had a wonderful Olympics. Did you see they took gold in beach crapping? Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, August the 12th. That was Cheap Trick. I Want You to Want Me. Rick Nielsen, guitarist for Cheap Trick, honored At the new Hard Rock Casino, which will open later this month in Rockford, Illinois, the home of Cheap Trick. New Hard Rock Casino opening, and what's right out front? A 62-foot guitar sculpture of his guitar, the checkerboard, the very famous, his most iconic, the Hamer Standard guitar with the checkerboard, black and white. A 62-foot tall version of that right out front of the Hard Rock. A very fitting tribute to Rick Nielsen, sir. I guess they didn't have a bridge to name after him, so they built a guitar.
Big-ass guitar.
That's a big-ass guitar, and that's pretty good. I mean, I've been to Rockford, Illinois. I don't know really what there is to recommend going to Rockford, Illinois, but if you're from Rockford, Illinois, and you're what is associated, they're known for they're the kings of Rockford, I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a good, kings of anywhere is good. Maybe I got to spend some more time there.
Rockford.
I just drive by it a lot of times on the way to other places. Maybe I'll stop in one day.
Have a good burger joint there, probably.
Well, there's a casino with a 62-foot tall guitar now. I mean, that's at least one thing. The Canadian national team did very well for themselves at the Summer Olympics. Aside from those closing ceremony uniforms they were wearing, did you catch that?
No, I did not.
Real bad look. Guys. It was like a jacket and short combo with a red, black, and it was. We'll put it this way: they're showing all the teams entering the stadium for the closing ceremonies, and when they walked in, I went, "Oh God, who is that?" And then it was Canada. Yeah. So that's all I can tell you. Well, but otherwise, nice effort. They did well. They won. So there were some track and field events they won that nobody was expecting.
Holy cow!
The men's 4x400 was awesome. Anyway, all this to say,
they're always there to pick up the gold when another country stumbles.
Yeah, that's exactly
if
what
somebody
it was.
doesn't perform to their gold standard, Canada is just right there to pick it up.
If we literally drop the baton, they're going to be right there
every
time. That's their job.
That's how they win.
The Ontario, the province of Ontario, that's where Toronto is, among other cities. Doug Ford is the premier of Ontario. I guess that's like the governor of Ontario. He had a press conference a few days ago, and he addressed the fact that at a lakeside beach near Toronto, there are several beaches right outside the city on Lake Erie up there. Apparently, there's a little bit of a problem, and it's this. There aren't enough bathrooms for the public. For the number of people hitting the beaches outside of Toronto, there aren't enough bathrooms. So what are people doing? Well, they're just dropping a deuce in the sand and burying it as if they're dogs.
Well,
scurvy-laden dogs. Anyway, Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, wanted to discuss this.
They don't have 100% proof, but we've given Wasaga Beach $1 million. They have no proof that people are pooping in the park, per se. I think people are respectful enough that, folks, don't be pooping on the beach. Simple as that.
Well, you got to make a PSA.
Pooping in the park, eh?
Pooping in the park, per se.
Go at home.
Sorry about that. But they buried it like a dog. I mean, come on. Canada's really one big outhouse, isn't it? I mean, I've got a lot of respect for Canada, but I'm just saying there's a lot of wide open spaces. It's kind of like South Dakota. Just squat and take a crap.
Tony Lee, this is something I think I've thought this several times in the last year and a half. I've never asked you, and I'm sorry for that. But when's the last time you took a dump outside?
Yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, you get one of those orange Home Depot buckets, and you just keep it in the car at all times. That sounds too specific. I didn't actually do that.
It was a blue Lowe's bucket, wasn't it?
I told you those KFC buckets, good for going in and going out. Exactly. Here's Doug Ford, that same fella swallowing a bee.
It's coming from the health sector.
Yeah.
I just swallowed a bee. Oh. This is going to be replayed over and over again. He's wedged in my throat. Sorry, guys. A little bugger got away in there. Oh, I'm okay. He's buzzing in there. Man, he went right down the hatch. This is a classic, okay? Sorry. Oh, this is a good one. I'm going to be howling tonight watching this tape.
Right,
I'll be rushing to the hospital to get this bee out of here.
Isn't he adorable?
His brother Rob Ford was the mayor of Toronto that was hitting the crack pipe. The Ford brothers were that's quite a pair of those two.
That's the audio I was looking for, and I went, "Oh, that's not Doug. That's the troublemaker
that
Rob."
Was Rob Ford.
Yeah, Doug's just there for the occasional pooping in the park story, and of course, if you need a bee in your mouth.
We've got to stop the people pooping in the park, per se.
Yeah.
Pooping in the park, per se.
Oh, my. Sorry.
Man, that's a song waiting to happen.
Isn't it?
Speaking of pooping in the parks, a San Antonio police arrested a 46-year-old gentleman named Paul Moses Alden. I love Moses as a middle name. That's pretty strong. He's been booby-trapping toilets in local businesses with what they are calling pressure-activated fireworks, which pressure-activated to me means sit your ass on that toilet and something's about to explode.
That's right.
They would explode, literally. You sit on it, it explodes. Minor injuries were caused. Many of the businesses targeted were car washes, including some of where he was a regular customer. Employees were able to identify him from surveillance footage and from his membership card.
Connect with us on the KQ Talkin' text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, August the 12th. A fine day, as fine as any, to take a look back. Oh, how about this? On this day in 1969, what is that, 55 years ago, the Boston Celtics were sold. The price, $6 million. That's a lot of money in 1969, surely.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
To date, at that moment, that was by far the highest price ever paid for a professional basketball team. Today, estimated value of the Boston Celtics, $5.12 billion.
Wow.
$5.12 billion. Not a bad return on 55 years. If you're wondering what the return is, that's 85,000%.
Yeah, I know, but wow, nothing. It's just that you have to
spend time in Boston.
Yeah, spend time in Boston.
It can be tough. It can be tough. It's an angry fan base.
Yeah, that's all right. I've been there. I mean, it's when they win they're angry. When they win, they start fights.
Yeah.
I spent 2 summers there.
Yeah, no, you know why they're angry? Because they're in Boston.
Yeah, exactly.
Just trust me. Go there. Walk down the street. Someone's going to take a swing. On this day in 1978, a day that any football fan who was around remembers very well, in a preseason game, Jack Tatum of the Oakland Raiders hit Darryl Stingley, wide receiver for the New England Patriots. He was stretching out for a pass. Tatum hit him. Stingley's 4th and 5th cervical vertebrae were shattered, and he was a quadriplegic.
Yeah.
That was a real defining moment. I mean, it was a preseason game, but the highlight's been shown a million times. That was a legal hit at the time. It's since been banned by the NFL the way it went down. Jack Tatum, of course, came out with a book years later called They Call Me Assassin. He didn't ever really walk away from it. He was like, hey, it's terrible it happened, but it's the game.
Yeah, I mean, that one play defining his career, a clean, otherwise, just a knight in shining armor player. With that one moment that
was
didn't.
it. That
I
one
mean, if
time.
you're a Steelers fan,
Yeah, right.
The clothesline.
Yeah, you want to see Jack Tatum, I don't know, get hit by a bus.
Yeah, to say the very least. This day in 2016, a kid named Katie Ledecky won the 200-meter, 400-meter, and 800-meter freestyle at the same Olympics. She was the first woman to win all 3 since Debbie Meyer in 1968. I'm curious. That was 2016. Whatever happened to Katie Ledecky? Wait. She just won 4 medals this week at the Paris Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was just going to Google her.
Oh, that Katie.
Katie Ledecky, who was carrying the flag at the closing ceremonies yesterday next to a guy from the rowing team. He walked in. I was like, "Who's that dude?" And I was like, "Wow,
our
get
coxless team won the gold. Did you see that? The 4-man coxless team ended up winning the gold.
It's amazing. I'm just glad to live in a world where eunuchs are just accepted and treated with respect.
Hey, she was born a woman.
Wow.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, August the 12th. Good morning. Man, am I glad to be back. I really am. I had a great week off. We had a fun week. Rosemary and I did last week. The week started, our daughter Marley was in town through last weekend. She left a week from today. We went up near Nisswa for a few days.
Yeah.
Little bit of kayaking and had the absolute all-time Minnesota moment on kayaks on a lake. Gorgeous day. This is last Tuesday, and we're going about our business. We're rolling. We're cooking. We're making some waves and having fun and doing the lake thing. And then literally, I look over about 100 yards to the right, and coming right at us, about 2 feet off the water, is a bald eagle, and he's just like cruising.
Yeah.
And I'm like, babe, babe, look to 3 o'clock, and she's like, what are you looking at? And she's looking everywhere but at the giant bird coming right at her. I'm like, babe, there's a bug.
Talons extended.
Babe, pay attention.
That look in its eye.
And he lifted up, and it looked like one of those, if you go into the old rabbit hole on YouTube of like airline near misses, and one guy was on the runway and he just about that's what I looked at. I was like, I'm about to watch an eagle smash into my wife.
Wow, that is cool.
Truth be told, 20 yards away he veered off, but I was like, that was close.
Yeah,
I was like, man, this is awesome.
But to see
I'm
one
going to
of
have to
those,
go get some wild rice chicken soup.
Yeah, my daughter was out taking the pictures. We were paddleboarding, same deal, and one kind of swooped at her, same deal, but not at low, came in high and was swooping. And I said, oh my God, you must get the most incredible pictures. Were you recording that? Was it a video? Because that would be even more killer. She's like, are you kidding me? I was trying to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, no
I said,
kidding.
did you get a picture? She's like, it was done. I'm like, when has a bald eagle ever attacked anyone? By the way, if you Google it, it's happened a few times. So I'm just glad Rosemary's safe. But
well, this
guy
peeled off, and then there was a little island in this lake. And I would tell you which lake it was, but I honestly don't know what it was called. There's just a bunch of them up there. I don't know.
There's a few of them.
Just outside of Nisswa somewhere.
I went up a couple of weeks ago. There's one around every damn corner.
It wasn't Gull Lake, but we drove right by Gull Lake on the way to get there, of course.
She's a big one.
One of those 25 lakes right near Gull. What are those named real quick?
And there's a little island, and the eagle went up into one of the trees on the island, and then a large bird that was not an eagle. That's all I know. He looked like an eagle or a hawk.
Troublemaker.
He came flying out, and the eagle chased him out, and then a couple of the eagles showed up. It was like a whole thing. We were like, I felt like Marlon Perkins for a minute. It was fantastic.
I can't wait for the documentary.
If only you had some crackers to feed the eagle.
I tell you what, man, after watching the Eagles chase off the Golden Hawk, my cabana boy Foster and I retired for foot rubs. I was just waiting for something, like that. It was really, really nice. And it was a great, anyway, all that to say, really nice few days up in the woods, came back down, had a few nice days in the city. The weather's been phenomenal. It's just a great week.
Came back to some great weather. Yeah, I was out of town myself, but yeah, I like this nice weather. Going to be nice here for the next couple of days. I'll be digging on this. Less humidity. 80. That's my summer temperature right there.
That's good stuff.
80 nails it.
Did the Lee family go anywhere? I'm sorry, I don't even remember.
Yeah, we did. Well, I took my lads because very shortly soccer and school is going to take over their lives. And so we had a boys' weekend. I took my two lads up to Rochester, stayed at the Kaler Hotel, and played in the pool.
Oh, sweet.
Wandered around. And
very nice.
Yeah.
Great summer weekend before soccer and school also takes over your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
any alligators up there?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
They're killers. One came right at us and 20 yards away veered away.
Right,
So luckily no one was hurt.
That's what they do.
I hate to correct you fellas. You know how I feel about that. But here in Minnesota, they're crocs. They're not crocodiles.
Ryder, did you see any alligators on the vacation?
Well,
no joke. Did actually see some gators
That's
down
right.
and did the little fan boat tour right outside of Narlands. Yeah, it was so freaking hot though.
Oh yeah, the humidity and it's a different kind of
It was a
Minnesota humidity with that. Ooh.
Yeah, it was a feels like 112 day. So fun stuff. But no, the crocs or the alligators go right at the fan boat and do not veer away until you give them marshmallow.
Marshmallows.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they come to the boats and they don't vear away because you freaking tourists are giving them marshmallows.
Yeah.
Kind of like I bet you could kind of skip over one, like a pothole or something like that on the boat. Like they're flat bottom boats, just boom, skip over. Anyway, that's kind of cool. I've never done one of those.
You should. You'd dig it.
I'm sure
see
I
all
would.
the cool swamp stuff.
Yeah, right, exactly. What was the TV show? Was that Flipper every once in a while? They jump on one of those? I know it was on the ocean, but this was the Everglades. No.
Could have been. I don't know.
Moving along.
And Thursday night, by the way, a nice shout out to this very morning show from Hootie and the Blowfish over in Wisconsin at the gig.
Cool.
Thanks,
on stage,
Hoot.
giving us the shout out.
That's nice.
And I would imagine some folks from River Falls made that gig, and it was a great gig. And I just want to say thanks to everybody in River Falls for having us on this morning. We do love that. River Falls, beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
good morning to you. If you are in the, let's see, where was this? Down in Illinois. You got to watch out. First things first, you always got to watch out for two things: the dudes in the man buns and anybody in yoga pants. If you're not, if you're at a yoga studio, perfectly acceptable. You're walking down the aisle at Whole Foods and someone's wearing yoga pants. It's like, okay, get enough already. Okay, just stop it. But rarely do you see the yoga pant public intoxication combination, because you're usually that's mixed signals.
Yeah.
You're wearing yoga pants to let everyone know that you're a fitness fanatic and that you're taking care of yourself. It's the weird, you don't expect to see that in a DUI arrest.
There are better citizens, the yoga pant, fitness people.
Yeah. But over in Wisconsin, an Illinois woman was arrested for driving under the influence, and she made a bit of a mess of her life, basically. There's body cams, there's cameras at the jail, there's everything in the yoga pants. But along the way, before she even got there was a problem. It was a traffic stop. It just went right off the rails. She's ignoring commands from the police. She takes off. More cops pull her over. She's laughing. She's having a blast. We have a little bit of audio from this.
Roll down your window and place your hands outside the car with the keys in your hand.
She's just laughing in the car and just flipped me off.
Put your hands out the window and shut out the car. If you run, I'm going to tase you.
This is so insane.
An officer asked the 35-year-old if she has any bruises.
Do you want to see it? Do you want me to get undressed?
No, keep your hands up.
Before a sobriety test, Griffin does what appear to be yoga poses.
Can you do what I can do? Can you do this in your car? And I haven't worked out in 3 years.
Don't chase me, bro. It's one of the desk cops. That's a little unfair.
Can you do what I can do?
They're eating donuts. They're not out in the field. This is after she arrived at the jail. That last piece of audio, I think she's being a little unfair. Although she does look, these are yoga pants that are not stretched to the max. She looks fine. She's fit. She's an attractive young lady. And yeah, she's not. I bet the next morning was like, oh my God, what have I done? Whitefish Bay, Montana.
I like when she says,
Montana. Wisconsin.
Can you do this? And you're a cop. And she goes, and I haven't worked out in 3 years.
Yeah.
No, I think you have. I think maybe you haven't had that much tequila in 3 years.
If she has any bruises.
Do you want to see it? Do you want me to get undressed?
No, keep your pants up.
Keep your pants up.
She's fun. Come on now.
No idea if there's any connection to a guy in Des Moines over last week running naked through the streets of Des Moines and hijacked a car. It's one thing to run down the streets of Des Moines. We've all been in Des Moines, nice town.
Yeah.
One thing to run around Des Moines naked, but if you're going to do that, don't steal someone's car from them.
My God. I don't know if they have a car seat or not, but then that's got to be disinfected. I'll tell you what, running around naked, you can get away with that in Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, perhaps. Right here in the good old Twin Cities, maybe even up north there in Nisswa, you could have done a little streaking. But down there in Iowa with the evangelicals in Des Moines, I know my brother and sister-in-law are a couple of them. Nakedness, that's frowned upon at all times, even like during sex. I'm sure they do the hole in the sheet thing down there. I'm just sure of it. The nakedness is not a cool thing. This is an actual reaction of it. Think of a naked man running down the street. We've had all sorts of reactions, and the rest of us would go, well, should I record it? My phone is sitting over there. Well, all right, they're naked. You look at it and you go, here's what happens in Iowa when a naked man runs down the street.
Oh my God! Where'd he go?
Yeah, mass hysteria, chaos.
There's a video on social media. That's people who are, by the way, he's not like right next to them. He's across the street.
Yeah.
The panic and fear of the nudity. That's pretty strong.
They'll be talking about that one in Des Moines for a while.
Tell you what, I've seen the video. You can't really get a clear look, no. But maybe it's just a simple case of he's really packing a load.
They're gonna be awfully disappointed when they get home.
It's like the old Cheech and Chong. Hey, lady, did you order a pepperoni pizza? Well, here's the pizza. And here's the pepperoni. Yeah, I can totally see that.
Can you imagine the size of the hole in that sheet?
Oh, my God. It's like...
Sorry.
Wow, back to the sheets.
I'm just picking on him because my brother's one,
Sure.
It's brotherly love.
That's what it is. Is he listening?
I hope so, but he doesn't listen.
Oh, they never listen.
This is the guy that gave me a lecture here about 15 years on this show after he listened. He said, you have daughters, so you're going to have to think about doing something else for a living. I'm like, oh, am I really, Chris? Thank you. How about kicking your ass for a living?
Wow.
Didn't get paid for it growing up, right?
Fair enough.
I know, he's sassy.
Goodness.
What is the thinking? Like, you have daughters, therefore you must now cut your nuts off.
Exactly. Totally. Get them home, homeschool them, shield them from the world, and certainly pick some more appropriate topics.
I do have a couple friends, and like I'm 59 the next week.
Oh yeah, right? Coming up on it.
And I've got friends who are my age, and they were the guys who, after Marley was born, when she was a little kid, they'd see her and they'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna be in so much trouble." I'm like, okay, first of all, she's 5. Just say she's cute. You don't have to.
Right.
Why are you turning it into
that's weird now.
It was such a strange. I was always like, what? That? And then you say it. It's like, what an odd thing to say and think. And then the idea of when she was in high school, you better lock her up. I don't know. How about she just is?
Yeah.
How about she has her own life and and we just equip her to handle reality? Like, I don't know. It was just, I never got that whole thing. I never thought like I'd look at a friend's young teen daughter and be like, "Oh, are you in trouble?
Keep her away from me."
Sorry, creepy, weird friend of mine. I didn't realize you'd taken such a turn.
I know, right? Now that you say it, it does. I've heard that before, and it does sound super creepy.
Yeah, it's just a little off-putting. Maybe that's just me. Hey, you can find Steve Gorman on the KQ Morning Show podcast anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want, in fact. That's just how cool we are. Sponsored, the podcast, that is, by our good friends at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. Oh,
yeah, thinking about it right now.
Yeah, it sure does. Listen, if you, like me, ever spent time in school and you thought to yourself, I mean, I'm sorry, man, all this focus, all this thinking, it not only does it suck, but it actually kind of hurts. Science has your back. Thank you, science. Thinking does hurt. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for August the 12th. That is the Beatles, a band from Liverpool, England, from an album called Abbey Road. A few days ago was the 55th anniversary of the Abbey Road photo shoot.
That's right.
They were in the studio. They stepped out. They took 6 photos of the band going back and forth across the little zebra crosswalk there. Cameraman he's on a stepladder. He has 6 chances. And one of those 6 becomes arguably the most iconic rock album cover of all time. I love the Beatles. They were going to originally call Abbey Road, the working title for that album, as they were all pretty much sure this will be the final album, was Everest.
And the
thinking was, let's go do a photo shoot at Mount Everest. For like literally, we're the Beatles. We're going out on top. It speaks to the enormity. It's not overstepping. It was self-awareness. Let's call it Everest. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, screw it. Let's just take a picture on the street. I mean, it's like they do.
Easier.
And by the way, so you think about how iconic that photo is. And what did they do after the photographer said, "I think I've got it"? They went back into the studio and finished some overdubs for some songs. They just went right back to work.
Yeah, just let's take a little break and we'll run out here, take a picture, have a smoke, and then it's right back to work. And it's iconic. And that Volkswagen Beetle in the background and had the license plate.
28 if.
What if Linda's widowed? What if Paul had lived or something like that? Wasn't like, and they just took an insignificant photo, and it, of course, had all this meaning and symbolism. It was the Beatles. Paul McCartney here explains, by the way, why he was barefoot on the cover of the Abbey Road.
Know why he was walking across that crossing with no shoes on? Well, because it was hot, man. It's like a real hot day in London, and I had sandals on. I kicked them off. Big deal.
But there was all of this meaning. What's the meaning? But no shoes because he's in the coffin, the real Paul McCartney.
Yeah, insanity. Yeah. It's funny because I grew up obsessed with the Beatles, and then the post-punk indie music is what made me. I wanted to play music because of the early 80s bands like The Replacements, a lot of bands from Minnesota, a lot of bands from Georgia. Georgia, REM, and different things that got me thinking I could do that too. But the Beatles were always there. But I was a dreamer, and you just think of the romance of a band and what it all experiences. And then one day you look up and go, the Beatles. Oh, they just outworked everybody.
Yeah.
Damn it. It's like the crap my dad used to shove down my throat. They shot the cover and went back in and finished the overdubs. They couldn't stand each other. It was tense. They were ready to call it a day, but they had to finish the record. They just literally outworked everybody.
You find that Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, arguably, and you're like, wow, he just had all the God-given talent. And then you read stories that he showed up an hour before practice, stayed 2 hours after practice, every day, and went, he just outworked
one of those
everyone.
Guys.
I see.
Kobe, LeBron,
with a lot of talent.
The thing those guys share is they just, they were there. When Kobe was on the Olympic basketball team, LeBron was talking about this the other day. LeBron's a younger player. I guess this was the 2008 Olympics, and a bunch of the team are walking into the hotel lobby at 4:30 in the morning after a night out clubbing. And Kobe's walking from the elevator to the exit. And they're like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to the gym. What the hell are you doing? And all the other guys are like, we're just getting back. And like literally like, oh, that's why you're Kobe. Because you're at the Olympics and you're actually working out at 4:30 and we're out clubbing. Yeah. The great ones tend to work harder than the other guys.
I would justify it as, well, if I worked that hard and I was great and everyone did that and everyone was great, then they wouldn't be great. There wouldn't be a standard of greatness. Someone needs to come in right there in the middle. Or a little low.
Listen, our middling work ethic is what makes the greats stand out. We're all serving. It's like a pack of dogs. You got some that are subservient, you got some that are dominant, you got the, lead, follow. It doesn't matter which, just do one or the other. You know what I mean? You're going to help the pack.
It's a village.
Yeah, sure. I as a student, I can look back and say, I really wish I'd committed more to school. I wish I'd spent more time not being distracted, not being bored. We have a, as we all know here on the KQ Morning Show, we have a general get together every Monday. We sit down and we have a meeting. It's an official work meeting where we talk about the week ahead, the month ahead. We plan things out. And you guys may notice the minute I sit down in a room with people talking about stuff, I just start yawning. I go right back to everything's a science class to me. If I have to sit somewhere and pay attention, I am. It is just so Pavlovian. I cannot help it. And now, speaking of science, according to science, it actually can hurt you to think too hard.
Aha!
Yes. People generally dislike mental effort. Of course. I mean, I'd much rather just eat nachos.
Yeah.
Have to think about something. But if you've ever come out of like a, when you have a grueling study session or a marathon work meeting and you feel like your brain is throbbing, scientific research says it actually can hurt you to think. The harder you have to think, the more unpleasant people find it. Thinking hurts because it just makes your entire body uncomfortable. And everybody is basically in the same boat across whatever job you in, your education level, various tasks, whatever it is. This is just a human thing. We all share that ability. So generally when you see people who are like invigorated by hard thinking sessions, they're the weirdos, not us.
Thank God.
Not those of us who want to tap out at all times.
I've always suspected that they were the oddballs, but now we know for sure. Weirdos.
And there's a lot of people who spend time thinking about all kinds of things, like how can we improve that which most of us would never think needs improvement. Okay, case in point, we all grew up learning our ABCs, our 1, 2, 3s. A lot of us learned the alphabet song.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Right away, you know exactly what I'm saying.
That's right.
Now, a whole bunch of teachers have gotten together, a bunch of smarty pants, and said, we need to clarify this alphabet song. We need to rework the alphabet song just a little.
Do we?
Just to be safe, just to be better. I'm just going to play the new version of the alphabet song that is apparently sweeping the nation, and then we'll talk about why this happened.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now I never will forget how to say the alphabet.
I don't, right?
Here's
Wrong.
the thing. The teachers, the reason people are allocating pauses and stops. They're saying, well, first of all, kids thought LMNOP was all one letter, to which I say, you're damn right we did.
Yeah.
And that's what made it so exciting to learn it wasn't.
Right, exactly. The world needs broadcasters, too. It's okay. That's how we knew you think that's one letter? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Give that one a microphone.
LMNOP.
He's going to be LMNOP.
Come on. And they thought Y and Z was YNZ. Okay, so what? This is the thing. Listening to that is the equivalent of me chewing a piece of aluminum foil. I'm not kidding. When she hits that first and then does the little beat and before the L,
D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N.
No!
O, P, Q.
Opie. She almost gets the ope in there. The opie. Ope. I don't. Yeah, you don't need to tinker around with that one. All right, well,
leave it be.
But they've been doing this to us for a long time. Subtraction, addition, it's very basic. You put the one number on top, you put the littler number below it, and then you start carrying ones and sort of things and drawing lines through and put a one over there and that whole thing. And then my kids got home, I don't know, 3rd or 4th grade, a little math, a little addition, subtraction. I got you kids, sit down. I start doing it. And they're like, no, Dad, you're doing it wrong. That's not how they do it anymore. They line them up differently now, and we start on the left and work to the right. I'm like, what? If it was good enough for the Sumerians, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Totally insane.
Right away, already in 3rd grade, I was dumb dad. I was pissed off and a little chippy about it.
Yeah, I got a whole. I thought new math was something I grew up with, and I guess it was because I can remember very specifically my parents looking at math and saying it was different. We used to do it like this, and so I of course assumed, well, now we've perfected it; it'll never change again. And the same thing, my kids, they were explaining how you multiply. Well, if you got things in the brackets, you multiply that first, and do it. Whatever they were doing, none of it made sense to me, and I just couldn't quite make sense of it at all.
Teachers, you don't have to change things up to stay relevant. We're not going to start teaching our kids, for God's sakes. You're always going to have, a healthy job market for what it is you do. I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it.
And by the way, at the end of the alphabet song, what's with the whole now I know I'll never forget all the letters in the alphabet? Why change that lyric? Why not just ask you to sing along with me like we always used to do?
That's a smarty
I can remember learning, so as a kid growing up, Catholic grace before every dinner. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy body through Christ. I didn't know what those words were. I said them phonetically till I was like 12. When I saw that grace spelled, I was like, bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts. I was like, that's what that means? I've been saying like, bless the Lord and these thy gifts. I had no idea what it was.
8 kids in the house. You had your eye firmly on the entree. Like, am I going to get some of that?
It's like listening to an early 80s REM song. I don't know what the guy's saying. I'm just mumbling along with him. It was just, there's no...
I like the melody.
Read those 80s REM lyrics. You're like, do what? That's what he was saying?
Kids don't need the alphabet anymore anyway. We have the internet. Get rid of the alphabet. Get rid of a lot. You don't have it. Just give them a smartphone and they're already the smartest person on the planet. Although I think this one, even for Gen Zers or millennials, I'm looking over there at you, Ryder. This one might freak you out. An 8-year-old boy recently said, and I laughed like, wait a minute, why do we? And he looked at me and he said, why are there numbers on a remote control?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Got me. I know. I said the same. I'm like, what? Well,
wait, hold on.
Why
like a TV remote control?
Yeah. Why are there numbers on it?
Why wouldn't there be?
Why would there be?
Because you got the voice activation now. You can just say, give me to whatever program.
When was the last time you punched in the number of your favorite channel? What is it, 118? What is that one I like? Nobody knows. You might know your local channels, I suppose, because it's been around for a while. You've got your Channel 5, 11, 4, and that 9 thing, that whole going on. But seriously, when was the last time you ever used a number on your remote control? And why there's an 8-year-old boy out there that wants to know why the hell we're still putting numbers on a remote control. It kind of threw me for a loop. Well, but even my daughters that are in that millennial age are going, oh, yeah, why do we?
This is really upsetting.
Are you upset?
Me. Yeah, it never dawned on me that I haven't punched a number on my remote in a long time. Damn it.
I know. Karsten, I got you, brother. You might be out there listening
really
this morning.
Strange. Yeah. It's kind of like they say you never know the last time you're going to carry one of your kids. You just one day look up and realize you haven't in a long time. This feels like that moment to me. I don't remember the last time I carried either of my children without trying to be funny, like as a much bigger kid.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, but there's a moment when you're actually still picking them up and getting them in or out of the car or whatever. They're tired. And then one day you look up and go, I haven't carried either kid in a long time. I now feel that way with the remote control. I haven't pressed 28 for ESPN in years.
No, right. We don't do it. It's
that's really unfortunate.
Time marches on. So LMNOP, I guess, is what we're going with now right there. Don't forget, Steve, sing along.
EFG HIJKLMN OPQRST UVWXYZ. Now I never will forget how to say the alphabet.
Turn it off!
I tell you right now, man, I would never. I'm not a violent person. I don't ever think about like smacking someone, and I certainly would never ever strike a woman.
Yeah.
Except that woman. I don't want to strike her. I just want to, you know what I want to do? I want to put my hands on her shoulders and just give her a little shake and go, just relax.
No, don't.
Leave it. Leave it. What, is nothing sacred?
Yeah.
Come on.
She'd have a song for that, too. Let's turn that frown upside down. Come on, man. Steve.
A smile. What is it? A smile is a curve that sets things straight.
There it is.
Oh.
He's on board.
You know it's true. A smile is a curve that'll set things straight. The kids in El Paso, Texas are not smiling right now, and I'll tell you why. First, they're depressed. And secondly, a middle school has said, well, that's too bad. You can no longer wear all black. Check this out. A middle school, Charles Middle School in El Paso, Texas, going back to school this week, the new dress code policy says all black clothing not allowed anymore because, quote, it is associated with depression and mental health issues and or criminality.
What?
It's the hue of the devil.
No more goth activity at Charles Middle School in El Paso, Texas. What are the Morrissey fans supposed to say?
I mean, we know they're depressed, but that's how we single them out.
I'm black on the outside, because black is how I feel on the inside. But if you sing it like that, then it's happy depression.
I agree. This is the principle. It's basically saying the same thing you did, but here's her explanation.
Can wear black shorts to go to PE.
Okay.
They can wear it on free dress day, but they just cannot wear it top to bottom. Now, the colors are not so much to prevent or stop mental health issues. You can have the most colorful dress on and still be suffering through depression. Parents that, are upset, they just need to make sure that they go through and read the dress code policy.
No, that's condescending. I believe they read the dress code policy, and that's what upset them.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say the kids who are expressing themselves by wearing all black that's a healthier thing. Like, no, I'm saying. Whereas I've spent a lot of times smiling and being the guy who's got it all together, while inside I'm a grease fire.
Even wearing magenta?
Let it out.
Have you tried wearing magenta?
What did I say about magenta?
Sorry.
That's the one word. It's the only I started 18 months ago. You said anything off limits? I said one thing, magenta. And now here it is. There it is.
Well, I agree with you. This is ridiculous. So it's because she's saying these colors don't cause depression, but you can't wear the clothes then because why? What's the point there then? And it's if you can wear a colorful dress and have depression. I don't know. What is the point?
All black clothing is associated with depression, mental health, and or criminality. What about just great music?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Goth. Let's go to our goth reporter, Ryder. Ryder, what are your thoughts on this policy?
It does feel like a personal insult to me. I do a lot of black on black, but it's mostly because I'm lazy. And I know it goes together. I'm not good with the fashion stuff.
And you spill a lot, and it'll hide that.
I do spill a lot, and it does hide that.
It's practical.
Yes.
Wow.
This is ridiculous. Taking it to the next level. Now the alphabet song doesn't seem that asinine.
No, it doesn't seem that bad.
I hear
I
about
can
this
clap
crap.
after saying N when I have to. But
I tell you what.
take away the black on black. It's no good.
The idea of a school full of children learning the new alphabet song while wearing rainbow-colored clothing, that's just too much for me to take.
I mean, I remember when Ed Hader had to turn his Disco Sucks shirt inside out. That was a very colorful T-shirt. Yeah, it expressed
Sure it
something.
was.
But he had to turn it inside out, which he was walking around with an inside-out Disco Sucks T-shirt all day, which made him even more legendary to all of us.
Of course, that is the stuff that legends are born on, right there. You know what it's time for right now? I don't know about you, but I could use some toast. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It's Monday, August 12th. Buffalo Springfield, for what it's worth. I saw Hootie and the Blowfish Thursday night over in Somerset. They played that song.
Yeah.
Did a great version of the song. It was a really good show. By the way, the opening act, there was Edwin McCain opened, and then Collective Soul played. Let me just throw this out to Collective Soul. I didn't know they had like 6 ginormous hits.
They do. Every time something like Shine or December or something comes on, or Gel, I'm like, there's another one, and there's another one.
Shine's the one I went in there and go, those are the guys that have Shine. And then the whole set they played, I was like, oh, this is them too? This is them too? I mean... Rocking, that's it. Thank you. I didn't know if I actually heard that. I thought I was still I just closed my eyes. I still hear that. Yeah. Man, what hit parade. It was a good show. It was a great show. There's another great show coming up soon. Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie, 92 KQRS presents August 25th at the XL Energy Center. And we would love to give away tickets to that show. So how about this right now? Callers 9 and 2 on the KQ Talk and Text line. That's 651-989-ROCK. Callers 9 and 2 right now. You can play for tickets to see Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie. Get on your horn. Call us, and you're going to appreciate the game we have lined up for you today. Hey, and you know what? If you're in, let's specify, Zep. Let's go to West Bloomington. If you're in West Bloomington, let me just say this.
West Side.
Thanks for listening to KQRS this morning. West Bloomington, let me tell you what I know about West Bloomington. They know how to rock.
Yeah, they do. Over there on the West Side.
Damn straight. And if you call in and you're in West Bloomington, well, maybe you will be caller 9 or 2. But anyway, we're giving away tickets to see Alice and Rob, Cooper and Zombie. Schools Out went to number 1 in the UK, I saw earlier, on this day in 1972. It's so funny, the British. Schools Out goes to number 1 in August. Guys, you're a couple months late. You're not
still out, Steve.
You're kind
Don't
of missing. You're missing the whole point here.
Technically, it's still
because I can
out.
tell you this. I remember the summer of 72 very clearly because that song was like... I've said it forever. Alice Cooper just stole summer song for life.
Yeah, for life.
Who could ever top... To anyone under the age of 20, what's ever going to top hearing a song about school being out for the summer?
No, I still get excited about it.
Yeah, I do too. And it's the least of my concerns is what's going on with school anymore. But I get excited. I still do. Do we have a couple people ready to rock?
We have our courageous players. Yes, sir. We betcha we do.
Boy, courageous is the key word because as it's Monday, I smell toast, baby. Let me have it.
Oh, it's time. Yes, it's time for toast. It's time to beat the toaster, where the toast comes from. Here's what we do. We pop a slice of bread into the toaster. It's right here in the studio. It's our friend. We give you a category, then you name as many things that you can come up with in 15 seconds before the toast pops. Yep.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let's do it. All right. We're going to beat some toast. Wait. Take that back. We're going to beat the toaster. We're going to eat some toast. Yeah. Tony, who is contestant number 1?
First up is our good buddy Paul from Chaska.
Paul from Chaska. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Paul, are you an Alice Cooper and or Rob Zombie fan?
I'm a huge Ministry fan, but I love me some Alice Cooper as well.
That's right. Okay. Ministry is going to be there. That's terrifying videos. I wonder if they still run those. Paul, are you a bartender?
No.
All right, it's just the one Paul I know in Chaska. Anyway, back to the game show.
Do you know Paul the bartender?
Yeah, I do.
I do not.
Well, I hope you know your way around a toaster and quick thinking, because this is a highlight of the week for us around here every week. We're already nervous on your behalf, sir. So good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Paul. The Olympics are in the rear view as we say adieu to Paris. What's Paris known for besides romance? Well, smoking, of course. Name us some brands of cigarettes. Go.
Lucky Strike, Marlboro, Camel, Kent, Pyramid, Vantage, Viceroy, Virginia Slim, Cool, Winston, Salem.
Is that all?
Great value.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dear God,
Wow.
Paul. Were you a smoker, Paul? Are you a smoker?
I was.
Okay, yeah. Wow, I'm impressed, dude.
I got 11.
I got 11. Yeah.
That's more than one answer for 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds. That is outstanding work, Paul. On behalf of the tobacco industry, we thank you for your service.
My mom.
Can't say I'm too proud of that. Thank you.
Oh, come on now.
It never occurred to me. This is the first. He said his final 2 answers, one after the buzzer. He said Winston, Salem, and I was like, wait, there's a town in North Carolina named after 2 cigarette brands.
True. The tobacco belt.
Never occurred to me. It's the first time I ever made that
tobacco
connection.
country.
You say Winston Salem, I think Wake Forest. I forget. Oh yeah, and cigarettes. Paul, great job, brother. That's as good as it gets around here for round 1. Let's move on to contestant number 2. Who we got? I believe it's Tom. Is that right?
No, it was Ray from St. Paul.
That
unless
dude
Ray
chickened out. So
Ray
we're going
bolted?
to Tom from Annandale. Yep.
If I had heard 11, if I had heard Paul rip those off, I might have hung up too.
Yeah. Okay. So it is Tom from Annandale. Tom, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you feeling, brother?
Oh, not too bad. Working on the golf course.
Oh, if you're working at the golf course, or is it really working? Wait, there's a line in there somewhere. Just makes me want to go play golf.
I'm all fairways.
All right, that sounds like the Lord's work for the golfers out there. Tom, we're playing Beat the Toaster. It's time for you to try to beat that toaster. Round 1. Good luck, sir.
All righty.
All right, Tommy boy. Name types, brand names, products, what have you. Name some cosmetics. Go.
Boy, I don't know. I don't wear makeup.
Liar.
No, I don't know.
Well, we got to enjoy the theme song in a way that we rarely do.
That one wasn't as tight as we had anticipated.
Tom, I'm going to say this, and I say this sincerely. That was the most entertaining bulk in Beat the Toaster history, because you just said flat out, I don't know. Yeah. And then we're trying to pull it out of you, and you're like, guys, I already told you, I don't know. That was great.
Yeah, we went from one of the more impressive Beat the Toaster runs to,
wow,
you.
All right, you know what, though? There are 2 halves to every contest. That's why we play both rounds. Tom, we're going to put you on hold for a minute. We're going back to Paul, who came out of the just came out on fire with an 11 in round 1, which may very well be a record. Paul, it's time for round 2. This is usually when we separate the wheat from the chaff. Good luck, sir.
All right.
All right, my boy. So, not based on athletics or sports, but based on your life and your unique personality and skills. If it existed in the Olympics, what would you medal in? Go to it.
Drumming, guitar playing, hockey, hauling doors, hauling millwork, firefighting, medical evaluation.
Medical.
Paul, I feel like we got to know you pretty well there.
I feel like there's a few women in the listening area who are like, hang on, this guy sounds like a keeper.
Yeah.
Firefighting.
Drumming, guitar, hockey, halls, millwork, and firefighting. Dude. That's Mr. Popular, I like to call him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 more.
I mean, hockey is in the Olympics.
Hockey,
but
I didn't want to.
I don't want to piss on his
parade. Didn't want to nitpick too much.
Oh, man.
That's 17.
Oh, man.
17, which I can't remember. I'm sure is that the best ever? I mean, possibly?
No, it's not.
Okay, it's not.
No.
Well,
our record so far is 21.
Oh, you know what? I knew that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul, sorry to stroke the ego a little too much there, but great job, brother. Put you on hold for a minute. We're going to go back to Tom. Tom, all you need to do is pull out 17 for a tie, 18 for the win. I believe in you. That's the funniest thing I've said all day, apparently. All right, Tony, what do we got?
Well, depending on your knowledge, you could pull this one off.
Tom, what are the letters of the alphabet? Right. Go.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
I was kidding.
C, D, E, F.
There it is.
Okay, you're strolling in a Home Depot and you see the aisle sign that says plumbing. What do you see in that aisle? Go.
Faucets, valves, PVC pipes, copper pipes, solder, flux, adhesives, glues for PVCs, valves, drains.
Yeah. He was doing well.
He was doing well. 8 maybe, or I'm just going to give him 9. 9. Very strong. By the way, Tom, 9 is as good as, almost as good as it ever gets around here.
Yeah.
That first one, the cosmetics threw you clearly. It threw all of us.
Yeah, I have 4 sisters. They wore all the makeup. I knew nothing about it.
Yeah, they'll be texting you today.
Yeah. This is when we need to add the lifeline to this this version. So, Tom,
need some concealer for the embarrassment.
Great effort in round 2, Tom. Sorry to say it's not quite enough, but we appreciate you calling in and playing. Paul, my man, you, in what they would call a good old-fashioned boat race, have yourself tickets to see Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie August 25th at the Xcel Energy Center. Very well played, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. Have a great time. Speaking of beating the toaster, did you see the giant Pop-Tarts that were recently revealed? The Pop-Tarts, I'm spacing. Who makes Pop-Tarts?
Kellogg's.
Kellogg's.
No?
Kellogg's made 15 of them. They put them on sale. L.A., Chicago, New York. That's it. They're the size of like a big screen TV. They're huge.
Right. I'm interested.
They're 70 times larger than a normal Pop-Tart. They went on sale. They immediately sold out. They're $60. That includes delivery. Only come in one flavor. That's strawberry.
Oh.
But now, here's the thing. Who's got a toaster or an oven or anything big enough for this bad boy? It's like you need a fire pit, a giant one, with in order to toast this sucker. It says it's big enough to feed 73 people.
or 4, you know. Yeah, I mean, if it's me, she can break it up into little Pop-Tart pieces, I guess. But that's, you don't want to do that. You're going to have to take, this is going to have to go outside. There's going to have to be, some fires started.
Pop-Tart, Pop-Tarts in my memory are always way, way, way better than they actually are. Like anytime I see one, anytime you go, you know what, the kids will have them in the house sometimes. I just go ahead and pop one in, and I'm like, I take 2 bites. I'm like, I'm good.
They get a little pasty. Do you toast them?
I toast them.
Okay, all right. Let's see. That makes the difference for me. I think you get them toasted. I'm still a Pop-Tart guy because we get up in the middle of the frickin' night, and so I still will a Pop-Tart you can eat on your way to work.
Mom and Dad would throw some ice cream on top. Well, brown sugar cinnamon a la mode.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
That's pretty special, actually.
That's how you get a kid to eat a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, that'll work. KQ up north. Holy smokes. With our friends at Hoffman Weber Construction, October 3rd through the 6th at Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. I just cruised right by Gull Lake a few times earlier in the week, and I got very excited about it. You can join us up at Cragen's for a broadcast of the KQ Morning Show. There will also be a karaoke party, a dinner cruise, live music, and a lot more with the KQ crew. Book your stay right now at 92KQRS.com. And again, sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction and Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. You'll be bringing your clubs, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I'll be bringing my clubs. I had a damn good time at that last year.
We had a good time. It was fun. And we got out and played some golf up there at the Legends course. That was awesome.
We did. It certainly was not too late in the year, and we got out there, and I think I only lost one ball. That was a good round for me.
Yeah. It was we had a lot of fun, and we will again have fun. And you know, that's black bear country up there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Up there for sure.
Oh no.
And I have every intention of I don't know. I was thinking what might be fun is find a black bear, put him in my car, and then drive him around, and I'll leave him down at one of the great parks right here in the middle of town. Maybe wrap a bicycle around his head. In case you missed it, we've got black bear stories to tell. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Good morning. It is Monday, August the 12th, which is just another day in the wide, wild world of RFK Jr.
Oh, man, this guy.
Boy, this thing, we missed it last week, but I think it bears repeating.
See what he did there?
RFK Jr. has told a lot of bizarre stories over the last couple of years as he's gotten his public profile up higher and higher and higher. This is the guy who a few months ago, somebody said, hey, you know, you flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane once, right? Or twice, or your name's in the logs. And his response was to say, hey, man, I live in New York. I run into everybody. I mean, Harvey Weinstein, O.J. Simpson, Bill Cosby. These guys all came to my house.
All the good guys.
It's like, that's your response? Like, did you ever get high with Ted Bundy? Like, what's next, dude? Like, what? Yo.
Oh, man.
And so RFK Jr. in his own very special way was sitting with Roseanne Barr recently. And long story short, there's an article that's about to come out of New Yorker, and he said, there's going to be a bad story. People tell crazy stories about me. So he thought he would just get ahead of this one. Apparently, the word is out that he was behind a caper from a decade ago. A big story in New York City in 2014 was the day in Central Park, somebody found a dead black bear cub in the park.
Yeah,
which is really unusual.
I vaguely remember it, but New York Central Park is large enough. You know, it's got quite a wander to get in there. It's not like coming into Theo Worth here. But
No.
But I thought it could happen, but I never once believed that a bicycle. Didn't they find a bike laying on top of the bear, and they thought a bicyclist may have hit the bear? I didn't buy that.
It was a weird story. It's one of those stories in New York that everybody talks about because it's so unexpected. It's like, wait, you're telling me a guy on a bicycle ran over a bear? First of all, there's not bears in Central Park generally.
Yeah.
And secondly, the one time we found one, it's because it was struck by a bicycle. It's a weird story. Well, RFK Jr. has come out after a decade. Oh, yeah, by the way, that was me. That black bear thing in Central Park? Yeah, my bad.
Him and animals. So this is the RFK Jr. The worm ate some of his brain, he claims. I don't know if that was ever validated or not, but he said he had a brain parasite worm or whatever that ate a significant portion of his brain.
Sure
it
did.
sounds like it these days. And then it wasn't that long ago he said he was at a barbecue eating dog. Remember
There's a photo of that.
Yeah, but it turned, I think it was a goat or something, wasn't it?
Who knows?
He was trying to be funny, and here he is. This is just a little bit of he was on Roseanne Barr's podcast, and here's a little bit of RFK's shaky voice talking about finding this bear.
So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear, and it was very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator, and you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear.
Yeah, he's talking about the roadkill law. We have it here in Minnesota. A lot of states do that. If you hit something along the side of the road, as apparently this bear was hit by someone in their party or something like that.
That's what he said,
He decided, but you do have to call, here it would be the DNR, I don't know what it would be in New York City, and they have to come out and give you a tag, and then you can claim the roadkill. He didn't do that. He thought he would just skin and eat this bear, and then what happened? How did it end up in Central Park?
He didn't have time to drive it back to his house. He said he was late for a dinner in the city, in New York City. So and then once he got to dinner, he realized, I got a flight early. I got to get out of here. So he just one thing led to another. The part he's leaving out is we were high as Ray Liotta in the last 20 minutes of Goodfellas. That's the part he doesn't say.
Yeah,
we were on a Henry Hill bender.
That's right. I forgot the beginning of the story. He said they were out falcon hunting.
Which is a euphemism for doing tons of drugs, I think.
Falcon and the Snowman,
possibly.
I think.
But he said he and some friends, they decided to dump it in Central Park, and they put an old bicycle on top of it so it looked like it was struck by a bike. It's just he said, we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something, but it really did get out it was a story. I was doing sports talk radio and we were talking about someone found a dead bear in Central Park. It's just, if you've ever been to Central Park, it's a huge park and there is, but it's surrounded by New York City, by Midtown, Upper West Side, Upper East Side, all the way up to Harlem. It's just, there's just city. It's literally central. It's in the middle. You don't sneak into Central Park if you're a bear.
If you're talking about a bear in Central Park, there's usually a twink involved.
There's no bear that's not going to get hit by at least 3 taxis on its way to Central Park from wherever it's coming from.
No kidding.
There's not a bridge or tunnel that's going to get you right into that park without a whole lot of traffic. Just another one of the most bizarre stories. The guy, they just keep coming out of this guy.
Yeah, they do. All right. So there you go. I thought it was a bunch of BS when I first heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it on the radio when we were driving around on vacation. I'm thinking, oh, baloney, you didn't. I mean, I know he's crazy. It's the worm that ate his brain. But there's photos of him in 2014 posing with this bear that's about the size of a black lab. But nonetheless, it's a bear.
It is a bear. I'm reading a poll. People asked if you've ever dined on roadkill. 6% said yes. That's it. Only 6%. I thought I would be in the 94%. As far as I know, I've never dined on roadkill. But how do you know?
See, that's the thing. I may have, and I've told a story about the would be the Chinese buffet. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Maybe I shouldn't. Down there in Prior Lake or Savage, right across from the Target down there off 42. We did the story. We're doing the story here that morning, and it was near my daughter's gymnastics gym. And so I would pick her up from gymnastics. We'd go over to the Chinese buffet, and good food had by all. But it turns out they were shut down because someone found deer legs sticking out of their garbage cans behind the restaurant.
Oh my God!
And it turns out that they were harvesting roadkill and putting it in the Chinese buffet, so I may have indeed eaten some teriyaki roadkill.
Yeah, you put a little tempura batter on there, you can eat just about anything.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Eating in enough restaurants, or just going to certain friends' houses. You can't put anything past certain people. I had a buddy in when I was in college, and he had a ton of venison.
Yeah.
And he said that he shot this deer, but I don't know. Now that I look back, I'm like, hell, who knows?
As long as it was freshly harvested, but you don't know. With the roadkill isn't a good roadkill. Sally's out in Montana. You can get a good burger there, but I don't think they serve roadkill. So
let me get this straight.
False advertising.
So here in Minnesota, if I come across a deer or anything that's been hit, I gotta call somebody and say, hey, I'm going to bring this home with me now.
Get a hold of the DNR, or your local authority there, I guess, and they'll come out and they can get a hold of the DNR. I understand that they will come out and issue a permit so that you can, then harvest that roadkill, take it with you. I don't know if you get the hide and if there's a rack involved, depending on what it is, but I know you get the meat, I guess. I've not done it, but I know people who have right here in good old Minnesota.
So, okay, if I come across, I see a deer on the side of the road, and I'm like, hey, and then I get out and I say, I'm gonna take that bad boy home. What if someone else shows up and says, no, I want it?
So this just happened in Montana. I was reading about the story last week. There are a couple of guys out there. Now, out there, you can do the same thing that you can here in Minnesota. Out there, you have to contact Fish, Wildlife, and Parks as the local authority. And someone hit an elk, that delicious elk meat, a young cow. They decided they didn't want it. They drove off from it. And another pickup comes along, and he says, hey, this is a fresh kill of a cow. I'm going to claim this.
Right.
And so I don't know if at that point he had called in with a cell phone, but he's sitting there along the side of the road when another pickup rolls up with another Montanan, and he says, hey, did you hit that elk? And he goes, no, but I'm going to claim it. And he said, it's not first come, first serve. That's not how it works. I'm going to claim the elk. And they both pulled out guns. Wait. Yeah. They both pulled out guns on the side of the road and shot each other. Did not kill each other. They're not that good a shot. Maybe that's why they don't have their own elk in the freezer. Wow. But they shot each other, both men wounded, went to the hospital. I wonder if they went to the same hospital like in Rocky, where just it was right down the hallway and they're yelling at each other.
Right
Apollo and I'll fight you again. But they shot each other and neither one of them got the elk.
Well, hang on. If it's not first come, first served, then what is it?
I don't. It may be first come, first serve, but the guy that drove up.
It has to be first come, first serve.
No, it ain't.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the person that hits it. After that, it's whoever walks away from the gun fight on the side of the road. They got themselves in a little Montana standoff over elk meat.
Over little meat.
It's awfully good.
I guess it would have to be. Now, an elk is even a small one. That's still a lot of animal.
That's hundreds of pounds of meat. If you just go out and harvest, I would say a young cow, you're probably still looking at, a 400 to 600 pound animal, field dress it out, take the meat away from it. You're going to have 100 pounds of good old quality elk at least.
So they couldn't share?
Got a grad party coming up.
Where's Ryder when we need you? Exactly. I'll take the front half, you take the back half.
Everything I know about field dressing large mammals, I learned from season 3 of Alone. One guy in the entire episode, I've only seen one person ever bring down a giant. It was like a moose or something. It was just once. And I was like, finally. And man, a lot of work to get that meat home.
Yeah. A lot of work. It's not deer, that's for sure. It's they're big animals, and depending on where you shoot them, it could take you days to get them out of there.
Also in this poll, by the way, it said 48% of people said they have been in a vehicle that has hit an animal. I mean, half of the people have experienced that. And I have. The two craziest things I ever hit in a car. One's a skunk, big, and I just kept going. You just don't want to be around that. And then, and this is not. It's just a true story. It's really bizarre. In my hometown, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, there's the Western State Mental Hospital. There's an asylum there, as they used to call it. Mm-hmm. And if you're from Kentucky and you say, if somebody says I'm from Hopkinsville, the answer is, they let you out because the sanitarium is there. Everyone's obviously crazy. And my brother and I were driving with I went to my girlfriend in high school and my brother, the three of us in the car, and we're driving by the front gates of the hospital, and we saw what looked to be a woman in like a hospital gown, like from a distance. And we all made the joke of, she must have escaped. And as we got closer, we're like, that is like a patient. And she flung herself in front of our car.
Oh, no.
True story.
I mean.
And my brother avoided it, and she kind of rolled off the side.
Oh.
So we did hit her. She was not injured that we knew of.
Yeah. So you couldn't claim her?
Could not claim her. She kept going.
Wow.
The car behind us had to lock up his brakes, and then he barely hit her as well. And then all traffic stopped. And then we saw like these it was like a bad movie, actually, because then there's the two orderlies, and they're all wearing white, and just not the kind of people who should be running anywhere, just too large. And they're like, where'd she go? They lost sight of her and stuff. It was crazy. It's an entirely insane story, which I haven't thought about in years. And now it's a kind of a weird memory.
No kidding. What?
On the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. Feel free to weigh in. We got a call, Tony.
Our good friend John has a roadkill tale.
John, good morning, sir. What have you got for us?
Well, good morning.
What's up, brother?
We live in a rural community. I'm not going to expose the name of the community to protect the rest of the residents from what we used to do. But we used to, I had an old piece of crap pickup truck, and on the weekends we'd load up a cooler of beer and hit the back roads and see if we couldn't find ourselves a deer running across the road and nail it. And unfortunately, I never had luck. I always missed them for some odd reason. But I was at my brother-in-law's house in the fall time, around deer season, and he lived out in the country, and we heard a kind of little skid mark and a crash, and we go up to the top of the hill, and here's a car and a dead deer, and we asked the driver of the car if they wanted the deer, and he said no, so we called the game warden, and he came and tagged it for us, and we drove it down his driveway and hung it up in a tree and gutted it and skun it. About the time we were done skinning it, my sister came home with my nephew and a couple of his cousins. They'd just gone to the movie Bambi.
Oh, no.
Always a little scarred for life.
Yeah, there's Bambi's dad hanging right there, and they're all grown up, like all skunned.
But damn, that was a good deer.
Yeah, good. I mean, it depends where they hit them. If they really smuck them, you can lose a quarter there. It gets a little bruised, but yeah, why not? Good chow.
Yeah, we lost one of of the front quarters, but the hinds were good, and the loins were still real tasty.
Nothing better than Bambi.
Yeah.
All cooked up.
Fair enough.
So I got for you.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
Wow.
First time I've ever heard anyone cop to like trying to hit deer.
Hit deer
Load up
on
the
the
old
back
pickup,
roads.
load up some beer in the back, and go out looking. See, that's the thing with deer. They know when you're looking for them. They're not the brightest.
Yeah, you only hit them
when
hit them when you're trying not to. Well, that is, by the way, for anyone listening, not a legal thing to do, to go out and try and run deer down outside of hunting season, so you can get a little Chislic party going.
Who's gonna know?
Who's gonna know?
I was kind of curious.
That's why you have the old truck.
Man, that's
nuts.
I mean, the number of questions flooding into my mind right now, things I've never considered, but it does make perfect sense.
Yep.
Got a hankering for some venison. What month is it? Damn it!
Right?
Load up the Tacoma.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Freezers are probably getting empty right about now, coming around, and just a few months away now.
Yeah, damn straight. All right, top 5 at 9 coming up. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, August the 12th. Good morning, one and all. It's a big morning filled with post-Olympic letdown. I enjoyed the Olympics, man. I really always do. I always get excited. I always like it more than I think I'm gonna. But boy, I really found myself, and I think largely because of Peacock. The Peacock, which I have and I rarely take advantage of.
Yeah.
The fact that you could just pull up events and choose and pick and choose what you wanted to watch, that made it a real difference. Well done, guys at Peacock. That was great.
Well, they packaged it so nice too, with the human interest stories and just the emotional tugs on your heart.
Sure.
And it was just beautiful.
Good recap stuff too. I mean, if that's all you had a chance to catch. I got back after missing several days of the Olympics, and a good old recap. But like you, Peacock. I'm sure I got it one time. One of those yearly subscriptions, I believe, is what they were offering on Peacock for some show I wanted to watch, and then it just went. Then it's that app that's over there on the end of the app list.
Exactly.
Until the Olympics rolls around.
Yeah.
I know a lot of my friends, we're probably in the minority. I hear the TV ratings probably aren't great for it. I'm like, I don't listen. I don't watch it. But if you do start, I don't care who you are, you do get hooked. All the personal interest stories, the glory, the drama.
So many of the track and field, so many of the races, both individual and relays. And I kept noticing it was almost always Ireland. They'd be coming around the curve, and it's like, an Ireland in third.
Yes.
And this is going to be... oh, no. Because it's like watching the teams or the runners who, as they come around that final bend, are in they're fighting for second and or third, but then they fade. As someone from the pack finally puts on the jets to come up and get a silver or bronze, it's always so heartbreaking. It's like, oh man, that poor guy from Papua New Guinea was right there, and then it's always like some Dutch guy runs right past him at the last minute.
They
like,
got to set some blistering pace. Like, this is my only chance. If I get out and I lead, I know I can just hang on. That sounds like my short track career. I was the guy that was there. Now it's a 400, Brian. You can't sprint the whole thing. I'll show you.
Yeah.
But then coming around that turn 3 and 4, everyone passes you.
The unintentional rabbit is what that's called. No, we didn't ask you to do that. You just did that.
And apparently, if you want to run for the United States, you better not only be one of the fastest women on the planet, but apparently you have to be one of the best looking. I mean, I don't want to be sexist or just objectify women, but good God, our sprinters are insanely good looking.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
It was a big talk on Twitter it was a lot of women sports writers all being sarcastic and giving credit, but they were snarky tweets like, I didn't realize you had to be a model in order to run track for the U.S. And then people were taking that seriously and going, what? The whole point is what you said, which is, hey, all these women with these amazing performances, and then at some point you recognize, like, and they're all just gorgeous.
Right.
It is worth a mention. Like the guys are not that handsome. There's some good looking dudes,
sure,
but it's not to the same level. It's like, and I'm looking at the guys, go, okay, well, that's a good looking guy. That's a handsome guy.
GQ
but
for
I'm
you.
sorry, man. These wow.
Oh, Gabby Thomas. Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is terribly inappropriate. But did you see her go hug her boyfriend?
Mm-hmm.
He's a chubby white guy.
Yes.
I mean, if you like chubby white guys,
I read about him.
Oh.
And it made me mad.
Me too. I'm like, I'm a chubby white guy. Why don't you love me? And then I absolutely did not Google Gabby Thomas images.
Of course not.
I did not do that.
Not a chance. I'm curious if all of if that's also how it works. If you're a doctor from Harvard, are you also that gorgeous, or is it just the track bar?
Probably.
That's a formidable woman right there.
Yes.
My gosh, pretty impressive. These are a few of the things we feel like you need to know. The top 5 at 9. Let's get to them. A little closer to home, the Minnesota Twins are now 3.5 games off of the Cleveland Guardians. The weekend started great. A doubleheader on Friday. The Twins took both. And so it's like, oh, crap, we're going to sweep this team. We're going to be leading the Central. But no, Saturday and Sunday, the Twins' bats cooled down pretty considerably. It is now back to a 3.5 game lead. But they're playing good baseball. There are 7 weeks left. And despite the fact that the bats kind of took a break the last couple days, no reason to think this is not a team more so than last year with a little more experience, maybe poised to make a little playoff noise. We'll see.
I think so. The Royals are right there with them, but you forget the rest of the division. But they're looking at playing some postseason baseball. Obviously, we have 7 weeks to go, but keeping it interesting in August, that's what you got to do.
Definitely tough yesterday when they, in the 9th inning, load the bases with no outs on 2 singles and then get nothing to show for it. That was tough. But the Twins are going to be there when it does matter. They will be in the postseason. I mean, barring some calamitous collapse. So we have that to look forward to. Let's see. Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. 2 months ago, a woman named Suni Williams and a guy named Butch Wilmore. Who are they? Well, they're astronauts. And they left Earth for the International Space Station. They were on the inaugural Boeing's Starliner spacecraft launch. They left. They didn't even bring their own toiletries because they were supposed to be only up there for a few days.
Just a turnaround.
Yeah, we're going to get up there. We're going to show up. We're going to hang out at the space station. We're going to turn around and come back. They are now 60 plus days in space. And NASA has raised the possibility they might be there until February of 2025.
Scheisenhofen. I mean, who wants to make that call? Hey, guys, gal, how you doing?
A little problem with the old Starliner, but yet another thing for Boeing where it's like, are you Boeing, guys?
Right. I'm not doing an inaugural Boeing flight to anywhere, let alone space these days. However, ground control to Major Tom. Well, I'm sure they'll be fine, right?
Plan B is they can get on a SpaceX Crew capsule later. But again, that could not be, if NASA can't figure this out, if they can't get the Starliner to bring them home sooner, it will be February before they make it home from the International Space Station. Last I checked, it's not like they got, personal butlers up there.
No,
you know what I mean? It's a pretty Spartan existence, and you're in space for, that would be 6 months longer than planned.
You packed for 2
7
days.
months,
I know they have things up there. I'm sure they have food, provisions, all of those things. But how many pairs of underwear do you have? Honestly, how many times have you washed your Grundies?
Man, I that's a rough one. I mean, and you know what? I'm sure they say they would be, hey, we know the risks. But
Pioneers,
yeah, seriously. I guess that's what it is. Number 3 on your top 5 at 9. The Vikings got a preseason win over the Raiders, which it's a preseason game. It means very little.
Super Bowl, yeah!
What is interesting and what is worth noting is just what's J.J. McCarthy. What's he doing and how does he look? An early interception. Then he bounced back in the third quarter with 2 touchdown passes. Kevin O'Connell actually had the perfect line as he's talking about McCarthy's preseason debut. He said, it's just another glorified but singular step in the process. Like, I like that. It's like, we're getting excited. 2 straight drives, 45 and 33-yard touchdown passes, but it's one step, and it is a long process. But McCarthy's a smart. He's got the smarts. He's definitely got the brain. Because quarterbacks, we can talk about Patrick Mahomes' arm all day, and you can talk about how Lamar Jackson can run all day. You got to be a computer brain to play quarterback at the highest levels in this game. And J.J. McCarthy, the one thing you can say about him is he's a really bright kid. So there is some potential there.
I think there's some big-time potential there. And Coach O'Connell can say, he has to take the head coach line, right? But Vikings fans have to be excited that they're developing him. Of course, we don't want to rush him, and he's not going to start the season, yada, yada. But clearly, he's getting a heck of a lot of reps. We'll see how he does here Saturday, right? Do they play on Saturday? Is that the deal? I forget. But anyway, keep getting him some reps. He could be that quarterback yet this year, maybe.
Hope springs eternal.
Amen.
Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. The average American says he needs 5 lazy days a month. That's 60 lazy days a year to feel rested and relaxed. And what does a lazy day mean? It's basically a day where you're sleeping in, watching TV, reading, and doing literally nothing otherwise.
That sounds nice.
It does sound nice. It also sounds a lot like most days for me. I always have, I'm up early, obviously, but we get out of here, and it's still the morning or it's early afternoon at the latest. There's always a couple hours where I'm just going to sit here in space. I'm just going to stare at the wall.
I get my lazy in, and every once in a while when I get together with the guys, I'll say something like, oh man, work's a drag, and I had to work 5 days, blah, blah. I had to stay till noon the other day.
Yeah.
And then they tell me about how they pour concrete all day, and I shut my mouth.
Yep. I try not to talk about, tough day at the work at all, tough.
No. Ryder was all over my ass.
Yeah. Not so much. As we mentioned, the Olympics have come and gone. The Paris Olympic Games, by all sort of metrics most average sports fan pays attention to, a screaming success. Los Angeles has a lot to live up to 4 years from now. Minnesota athletes did very well in the Olympic Games. Generally speaking, the U.S. and China ended tied with 40 gold medals, but the U.S. did win the overall medal count, 126 medals total. America's women athletes won twice as many golds as our men. At the end of the day, though, this is the thing that's really chipping me right now. Jordan Childs, the gymnast, won the bronze medal,
right,
and then has it stripped. She's now appealing. Here's the story. She did her performance, right? And then she saw the judges' scores came in, and she said, hang on, I did her. There's one of the moves in her exercise where they did not factor it in. I guess she did it successfully, so it's worth a certain number of points. And she correctly pointed out, you guys missed that in the tally. The judges went back after it was all said and done and go, you know what, you're right, we did miss that. You are the bronze medalist based on the points for what you did on the field. You had the third best performance. Done. So there was a Romanian gymnast who had been in third place, was now told, sorry, you came in fourth. We made a judging error.
Yeah.
Then the Romanians said, because there's a rule in the apparently, if you want to file a complaint for the scoring, you have exactly 1 minute to do so.
Right.
Jordan Childs and her coach took 64 seconds to file that complaint. 4 seconds out. So they said, the Romanians said, hey, she did it. She didn't do it in the allotted 60 seconds. She took 64 seconds. Therefore, and then the IOC looks at that and goes, you're right. So you do get the bronze. Take it back from Jordan Childs. Everybody agrees she did a better performance.
Right.
I understand the
not
technicality,
the Romanians.
But you guys, the judges made the mistake, not Jordan Childs. And their mistake, in my opinion, far outweighs a technicality on the protocol of 4 seconds the whole thing is so bizarre.
Well, stay tuned to this, issue that most people probably don't care too much about. But this morning now we're reading that the United States coaching team did offer evidence that said that we got our appeal in within that 1 minute. So now they're going to look at it again. So both these athletes, whether it be the Romanian athlete or our United States athlete, are getting sort of jerked around by, again, these Olympic committees that just don't seem to have their together.
I feel like I'm going to get some crap for this one, but can't we just give them both a bronze and call it a day?
Oh, well, everyone gets a trophy, Ryder.
I knew that was coming.
My Lord. Why don't you just surrender now?
You know, you think back to
they've done that before. I think when you have ties in some of these things, and I think there was a tie at the Olympics in my lifetime where they both got golds or something like that. Didn't that happen once? No.
They agreed to split. These things are possible. In 1968, Mexico City Olympics, very famously, Tommy Smith and John Carlos of the U.S. raised their fists on the medal stand.
Yes.
And the U.S. Olympic Committee said, we're going to take their medals away from them. And in their statement, they said, well, in looking at all of these factors, we insist you return this. And Tommy Smith said something to the effect of, you didn't factor in the army you're going to need to come and get this medal away from me. They never returned those medals. It was kind of like, no kidding. Attaboy indeed.
Come get it.
So 14 of our golds came in track and field, swimming 8, cycling 3, gymnastics 3. That includes, of course, the team. Suni Lee, one of those gold medals from over in St. Paul. The Winter Games in Italy, 2026. LA again in 4 years will host the Summer Olympics, and they are saying it is a car-free Olympic Games. I'll pay attention to what that actually means when we get a little closer to it. But I do know that in the 1984 Los Angeles Summer Olympics, everybody from Los Angeles said it was the greatest 2 weeks ever because there was no traffic anywhere. All the locals just got out of town. And in 96, I was in Atlanta for those games, and it was a similar situation in Atlanta, Georgia. During the Olympic Games of 96, it was the best. I mean, it was just every road was yours. Every restaurant, every bar, empty.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was the exact opposite of the feeding frenzy everybody was expecting. So there you have it. Hey, Circle Pines, we know you are with us, and we do appreciate it. Everybody listening in Circle Pines, cheers for having KQRS on your radio this morning. Circle Pines, they know how to rock.
They have the sausage house up there. Hoos, Haus, the Circle Pine Sausage House. Ooh,
is it really sausage if it's not a hoose?
Hoos, yes, exactly.
Man, come on. And, as it is almost September, that's actually the month of Oktoberfest for real, which means it's time to start getting our bratwurst on. Come on, sausage September coming right around the corner. Nothing like a little football to it is funny watching some preseason. It's meaningless and it doesn't do anything, but that fervor, just the stirring of the pot of, oh man, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes.
Texts were flying yesterday. The Vikings, you'd think we're 5 games into the season.
It's pretty exciting stuff. Let's not kid ourselves.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, August the 12th. Aerosmith with Janie's Got a Gun, a song that Steven Tyler said he had the melody in his head and he was humming it, and he just blurted out the words, Janie's got a gun. And he was like, who's Janie? Why does she have a gun? But he said, but you know what? You got to follow the muse. You got to follow the inspiration. You hear a lot of songwriters say that. The words that jump out, just don't fight them because they're just you'll never get over it, and you're always going to wonder if you should have pursued that line of thinking. The Bee Gees had never been to the United States of America and clearly had never been to Massachusetts when they wrote the song Massachusetts. Same thing. Barry Gibb said, we just had the melody. And I was like, talk about that in Massachusetts. He goes, it fit. And I'm like, I guess we're writing a song about Massachusetts.
I'm very curious about that song now.
Yeah. So you got to do what you got to do.
It doesn't fit, though. When you think of Massachusetts, that tune just doesn't jive with the Massachusetts vibe.
Didn't McCartney say yesterday he started out as scrambled egg?
Scrambled egg.
Yeah.
That was his placeholder.
Scrambled egg.
Aerosmith, it's funny. You see a lot of tribute acts to great bands. You don't see a lot of Aerosmith tribute bands for one very obvious reason. Nobody can do Steven Tyler. You can do Robert Plant. You can find a guy who put his nuts in a vice and he can hit those high notes like Robert Plant. Somebody can give the vibe and the Mick Jagger. Try to sing like Steven Tyler. I dare you.
You'd have to be drunk, and you couldn't do it for very long.
Yeah.
I imagine that takes a toll on the old larynx.
It certainly does. Steven Tyler himself can no longer sing like Steven Tyler. You probably heard the news while we were off last week. Aerosmith has definitely pulled the plug on Aerosmith, at least as a touring live performing band. After a year of Steven trying to get his larynx back in shape, realized it's time to give up the ghost. On their actual announcement, they said, as you know, Steven's voice is an instrument like no other. He has spent months tirelessly working to get his voice to where it was before the injury. We've seen him struggling despite having the best medical team by his side. Sadly, it's clear that a full recovery from his vocal injury is not possible. If you had told anybody ever in the last 50 plus years Steven Tyler is going to pull the plug on his career because of a vocal injury, you would have said, what is that a euphemism for? I mean, it's just like of all the things to go out on Tyler, it's pretty amazing because he is such a unique. He is just his range, his low to high. He's just such a unique and phenomenal vocalist. He's so busy being kind of in the same way that Mick Jagger. You don't think about what a great singer they are because you're so busy paying attention to all the other stuff they're doing.
Right.
But Steven is really, at his best. There's nobody like him. Like he's one of one, the way Mick Jagger is. So Aerosmith, they are finished. Joe Perry said there's a chance there still could be some recorded music,
right.
But I believe that when I hear it. I just don't think that's getting Mercury back into the thermometer at this point for a band after that long and a year off. They started a tour a year ago. They got 3 shows in, and then they had to stop. And then they wait a year, and then they bag the whole thing and say, we're done. I just can't imagine they're going to get back in and put new music together.
I don't know what you're talking about, Steve. I've got an AI program that'll whip out a new Aerosmith tune here in about 5 minutes. We'll get a little time here.
Yeah, that's
nothing
very true.
to it. Steven Tyler's never sounded better.
Oh, man. Sad but true, I suppose. But no, Aerosmith is done. Did you ever see Aerosmith, Shirley, over the years?
Many times. Yeah. In fact, I actually got to watch Steven Tyler and Joe Perry do a little acoustic gig. Mm-hmm. And Steven came out and sang 3 songs a cappella. That's what I was thinking about when you were talking about his voice, because you're right. You get up there with the band and the 5 billion amps. It still cuts through all of that. But to hear him even sing a cappella, the guy, an amazing range and a beautiful voice, and it will be missed in live shows. That's for sure.
Absolutely incredible. Did you ever see Aerosmith, Tony?
I did. Loudest concert I've ever attended.
Really?
Absolutely the loudest.
What era? What year? Do you know specifically?
Late 80s.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. Yeah, that's early.
That song we just heard was from Pump. The first big arena tour I did as an opening act was Aerosmith, summer of 90 on the Pump tour. And they were aggressively sober at that period of time. They were 4 or 5 years into the recovery and touring. And at a time, they've talked about this. I'm not bad-mouthing them. They'll tell you way more than I will. But they would now look back on that era with a little bit of embarrassment because, like I said, aggressively sober, by which everybody on their crew had to be sober.
Yeah.
Like their crew wasn't allowed to drink on days off. It was like they surrounded themselves with people who didn't drink. We were not allowed to have alcohol in the arena.
In the arena?
We had to walk off the bus and leave the beers back on the bus to go in and play the show. Of course.
In your bloodstream, could you bring it in?
But we brought it in. It was like, this is just a Coke on ice with, half Jack in there. Yeah. No, it was after a while, we're like, this is the dumbest thing. Like, we're out with Aerosmith of all the bands, because we went into that tour like, oh my God, it's Aerosmith. And we knew they were not partying, but still, it's Aerosmith. And we're kids of the 70s, and we couldn't wait. And we got there. And the guys in the band were cool. It was their management. It was all the people around them.
Right.
And when you walk in the first day and like the first thing they do is hand you a list of rules. And it was like, this is really weird. I just remember, I was like, I'm 24 years old. I don't need to be told where I can and cannot drink.
Even dumbass DJs taking a couple of fans back to get posters signed had to dump their Heineken out in their mouth on the way back. And had to slam it. I'm like, really? You can't take a beer back to an Aerosmith? And I remember the guy saying, no, they're sober. I'm like, okay.
But the funniest thing is, like I say, it wasn't the guys in the band themselves. It was their people. Steven would come into our dressing room every night. He'd walk right in. What's up, guys? What'd you get into last night? And he wanted to hear everybody's stories. Like, did you, and it was always, and he was still telling stories of his drug days. It was just, and he wasn't doing it at all, but he was really hoping we'd have a great story for him.
Yeah, that was,
it was pretty funny.
My Uncle Mike that went on the wagon, well, actually a recovery recovering alcoholic and would do that when I'd come back from a weekend.
Yeah.
All right, tell me all about it. I'm like, oh, no, I was drinking. He's like, yeah, I know. I want to hear every sip by sip, blow by blow, just kind of living vicariously through me.
I saw Steven probably 10 years ago in Nashville is the last time I saw him. And I have seen him over the years many times. I don't think he would know my name if he saw me. And it would, as soon as he connected his dot, he would drummer, that's the guy in the black. I know him. He's always really cool. The last time I saw him, it took him a second because I was doing Steve Gorman Sports. My syndicated sports talk show was on Fox. And so I'm at my studio in Nashville one morning. I had an afternoon show, but I dropped the kids off at school, and I was going to go pre-record an interview at like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I run into the studio to pre-record an interview. And right across the hall from me is the Bobby Bones Show, huge country morning radio show. Mm-hmm. And Steven had a country album out, if you remember, in 2014. Or maybe it was 2015. And so he happened to be there doing the Bobby Bones Show. And so as I'm walking, I'm in the hallway, and I'm pushing open the door to my studio, and he comes around the corner. And we look at each other, and I see in his face, he's like, I know this guy, but I don't know this guy. Like, he recognized me, but he goes, hey, man, what's going on? I said, hey, Steven, how you been? And then over my shoulder, I had the door to my studio open. There's a drum kit in my studio. And I watched him look over, see the drums, and then I watched it, 2 + 2 = 4. Hey, you're Steve Gray. Then he totally knew who I was. And what does he do? He goes, well, let me check this kit out. And he runs in and sits at the kit and just starts wailing. He's a great drummer. And he immediately is wailing. And I'm like, it is 8:02 a.m. And this is just him. He's already in full bloom. He's wearing a onesie. He's wearing stage clothes and scarves and stuff. And he just came and he just sat down and just started blasting out like a James Brown beat. I was like, man, he is on fire. Wow. And then he popped up and good to see you, man. How you doing? And then he was just out of the room in a second. And he was in Nashville a lot that year. And you would always hear the same stories. Like, oh, man, I saw Steven Tyler at Whole Foods. And he'd be like, you did? He goes, well, I heard him. Like, man, I was at the mall and I heard Steven Tyler.
Maybe if he had given the voice a rest every once in a while when he was off stage.
I was at a record store. I was at Grimey's and I heard Steven Tyler. So that's what he kept saying. I heard Steven Tyler because everywhere he goes, he's like, "This is the best cheese I've ever had." It's like wherever he is, he's just loud as hell talking about like
save matches. A duck and see what hatches.
Yeah. I mean, just everywhere he goes, there's always but it was always the funniest thing because people would say that. Oh yeah, I heard Steven Tyler over at the yeah. I was at Dillard's and I heard him over in the menswear. Speaking of classic bands who are still out there doing it, Aerosmith no longer doing it, but Journey is on the road. Journey will be here next week. They will be appearing at the stadium with Def Leppard.
I've heard some things.
They're in the middle of a lawsuit. We mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Jonathan Cain, the keyboard player, is suing guitarist Neil Schon. For the second time in 3 years, he has sued his bandmate saying, you're spending too much money on the band's American Express card. Which is just the wildest thing in the world. Wow. Somebody asked Neil on Facebook. I guess he was taking questions, and someone said, hey, what's the deal with the lawsuit? And Neil went into great detail and said, this is complete rubbish. I don't know why anybody's believing this. He said, we're traveling, because one of the things Jonathan Cain said was that Neil is flying private and spending all this money on private planes, this and that and the other.
And the crew's not getting paid.
Yep.
And that's when I started hearing that, and I'm like, is that true? Is the crew not getting paid and he's living extravagantly? However,
Neil Schon says, we are traveling no differently than we have for many, many, many years, including Jonathan Cain. He and his wife decided to take a bus at the 11th hour. That was his own decision. The rest of the band, along with crew and security, travel on one jet that was all approved in our pre-tour budget. He's saying it's not my own plane. Everyone else is on the plane. Jonathan Cain decided to step back and take a tour bus. He says, my wife and I have great relationships with different managers of hotels. They get us great deals. If we upgrade, we take it out of my pocket in the end. That's always been the case. And he just goes on to say, this is the second time he's done this. It's ridiculous. Blah, 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 blah. They're still playing the shows. By all accounts, they're still playing great. They sound great.
He still has the Journey American Express.
He still has the American Express, but he's saying we should just get rid of it and let the promoters take the individual proceeds out, blah, blah, blah. All I know is this. When you have to talk about the lawsuit within your own band that's happening while you're touring in that band. You're crossing some lines that few bands have crossed before.
I mean, that's friction. You can get up, and they've been doing it for so long now. They can get up and be very Journey-like. I mean, professional on stage, and then you get off. But Phil has buddies here.
Tony and I settled our lawsuit, but we did it during the holiday break last December.
Yeah,
so it
who
was
took the KQ American Express for vacation? I went to Wade's drawer and I couldn't find it.
We are actually we are not able to talk about this publicly. Tony and I both signed an NDA with each other.
There's an agreement.
It was just one of those things.
That has never happened. No one on the KQ Morning Show has ever sued someone else on the.
There's always time. We'll get there.
What else?
Come on, man. we still got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, let's get as big as Journey before we start suing everybody.
Let's look back. Check this out. 55 years ago, in 1969, on August the 12th, the Boston Celtics were sold. The franchise was sold for $6 million. At that time, absolutely the most money ever paid for a pro basketball team. Now, right now, $6 million in 1969 today would be about $50 million.
Yeah.
Now, that's nothing to sneeze at. But an NBA team for $50 million would be the bargain of this or any century, because the Boston Celtics right now are currently valued at $5 billion.
I probably couldn't sign an assistant coach for $6 million.
$5 billion. 55 years ago, it was $6 million. That is an upgrade. By the way, that's an 85,000% return. That's okay. Not a bad return for 55 years. Now, it's not the same ownership group from them. It has sold in the interim, but from $6 million to $5 billion in 55 years, that's better than Apple stock, baby. It's better than just about anything. On this day in 1978, New England Patriots wide receiver Darryl Stingley, in a preseason game, had a devastating injury. Oakland Raiders strong safety Jack Tatum hit him as he was stretching out for a pass, running over the middle. The hit broke Stingley's fourth and fifth cervical vertebrae. He was a quadriplegic. That is, if you're my age, so I was 13 when this happened, Darryl Stingley's just a name that always rang out. Boom. Everybody remembers that preseason hit. It was absolutely horrible. The NFL went on to ban that hit was legal at the time. Jack Tatum was not even penalized on the play. It was a completely legal play. It has now since been banned. Darryl Stingley, as a quadriplegic, lived another 30 or so years, which is that's a hell of a long run for a quadriplegic.
Yeah.
But just a brutal thing. It's one of those names. There are certain names in any sport that just for either something great or tragic, you just always know what that is. And that was Darryl Stingley on this day. On this day, 8 years ago, in 2016 at the Summer Olympics, an American swimmer named Katie Ledecky won gold in the 200-meter, 400-meter, and 800-meter freestyle. First woman to swim all three at the same Olympics at that time since 1968. And in case you noticed, Katie Ledecky is still a pretty good swimmer.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Just dominating that 1,500-meter swim. When she's coming in on the final lap and there's no one else on the lap with her, there's still nothing more impressive in all of sports to watch than her just dominate in that pool.
Don't they just climb out of the pool at about 1,000 meters and watch her?
Yeah. I would.
Damn
straight.
I love it. It looks like the swimmers are going the opposite way of her. She's so outlapped them.
Absolutely incredible. A very fitting athlete to carry the flag in the closing ceremonies last night.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.